Okay, it seems wrestling fans finally got their wish and how War Games moved up to be part of Survivor Series. How did it go? Well, let's take a look. There were only 5 matches on the show, no kickoff show matches to talk about whatsoever, so again, we're getting right into it with the Women's War Game match. Team EST, which is Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Asuka against Team Damage Control of Bayley, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Nikki Cross. They decided to use Mishin as a descriptor to Mia Yim now, so it's just kind of part of her, like a nickname instead of her actual name. Just so we're clear on that one. Again, here are the rules for the War Game match. To enter, the next person enters after 5 minutes, then every 3 minutes after that someone enters. And then the match does not become official until everyone's in the ring, and you can only win by pinfall or submission. So, okay, I couldn't help but notice too during her entrance, Nikki Cross elected to climb to the top of the cage and sit up there. However, because this is not like a normal box cage pattern, it's vertical. It's a shark cage. So there's vertical bars. She had to have Rhea Ripley assist her. She had to use Ripley's knee to climb up to the top of the cage. Opening up were Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai. Kai hit a nice pump kick through the ropes. Belair hit a cage bomb just as Io Sky entered. Sky hit a crossbody through the ropes. Sky tried to do like a springboard up into like a superplex type maneuver, but you can tell she caught her foot on something. I don't know if she caught it on the rope or if she caught it on the cage, but she got hung up and it kind of threw everything off, and the crowd started booing there. And then Asuka entered after that, hit a big German suplex on Kai. Nikki Cross is the next one after that. She's got weapons into the match. She got some kendo sticks, some trash can lids. It's then that and she slammed the door in Asuka's face. Alexa Bliss came out next. She tripped on a cable and a camera cable, I think, going to the ring. Got in there, hit some big drop kicks. Bayley came out. She got a ladder and I think a table. Hit a sunset bomb, which sent Belair into the turnbuckle. Io Sky then hit an assisted moonsault on Alexa Bliss, who looked like she tweaked her knee in the process. Belair's she hits a what did I write here? They pinned Belair with the table to the cage and then tried to tie her braids up in it. But that was right when Mia Yim entered. Yim hit cannonball into a garbage can, and Ripley, Rhea Ripley was out after that, just as Mia Yim hit a cannonball into the garbage can on Ripley. That was then that Becky Lynch entered. She really tipped the things ever. That was the beginning of the War Games at that point. At that point, we're into the match beyond. Asuka, at this point too, there was a spot where I believe was when Rhea Ripley was entering, where all 4 women in the ring were hit with superplexes, but they missed Asuka hitting hers. Mia Yim pulled Ripley into a sleeper hold. Ripley crashed into a ladder. Eventually, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair teamed up to work together. Belair hit Bayley with the KOD. Shirai and Dakota Kai were placed on a table, and Becky Lynch hit a guillotine leg drop from the top of the cage to get the 3 count on the victory. So yeah, the good guys win this one, or the faces win. Overall, an all-right match. It was kind of a slow burn build, because there's some points where there just wasn't much happening. It was just more like, we're going to throw forearms for a few minutes while someone gets into the ring. And I think there might have been a little too many weapons involved in this, because you had 2 ladders, only one of which got used. I think there was, just the 1 table, or was there 2 tables? I can't remember. Yeah. A bunch of trash can lids. Again, only a few got used. I think some chairs got thrown in. I don't remember any chairs getting used at all. Mia Yim got her big moonsault off the top of the cage, but not Mia Yim, Io Sky, my mistake. Sorry, my bad. Io Sky got her moonsault off the top of the cage. This was no different than any of the other women's war game matches before this one, so it was fine. It wasn't spectacular, but it was all right. After that, our next match was AJ Styles taking on Finn Balor. This was unique during the entrance that Cole directly referenced Bullet Club by name. Before that, they always just said, that club in Japan, that group in Japan, the club. Now they came out and officially said, yeah, Balor founded the Bullet Club and AJ Styles took over as leader when Balor left. Which he didn't leave, he was kicked out of Bullet Club, but never mind. Right off the bat, Styles attacked Balor's knee. Balor hit an O'Connell roll and followed with some stomps. Styles hit an Ushigoroshi backbreaker. It's at this point that Judgment Day interfered. Priest distracted the ref, which allowed Dominic Mysterio to trip AJ Styles up on the ropes. That caused a brawl with the Good Brothers. It tumbled under the stands. And from that point on, it was a one-on-one match. At several points, they tried to hit each other's finishers. Balor went for a Styles Clash. I think AJ tried to do the 1916. Eventually, he tried to get a calf crusher on. It tried a little too hard because he leaned a little too back so that Balor could grab his head and slam it into the mat. Both men hit Paley kicks on each other. Balor dodged a 450 splash. He hit his coffin drop kick. He went for the coup de grace, but Styles managed to just roll out of that one, and that allowed Styles to get a quick forearm shiv to Balor's neck and then hit the phenomenal forearm for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, they jogged at each other in the ring for a little bit, but that was about all you really saw. This was a really good match. This was very solid, very well planned out. Definitely nice to see them trying each other's finishers, trying to steal moves, usually each other's moves a lot in this match. I'm glad the tag team, the teammates were not overexposed. Like, once they left, they left. They didn't come back. There isn't a continued brawl going on. Definitely leaves the door open for further stories down the line. I don't know when exactly they're going to be addressed because the next show after this is the Royal Rumble. Yeah. And that's in late January. I'll get into that when we get towards the end of it. So, yeah, this was a really good match. Up next is the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi. Right off the bat, Rousey dodged Enziguri and tried to put on an ankle lock. Shotzi managed to get some offense in, got Rousey out of the wing, went for a torpe, but Shayna Baszler actually pushed Rousey out of the way and took the torpe instead. That being said, Rousey still got thrown into the steps. Both she and Shayna got dumped into the crowd, at which point, Shotzi, hit a crossbody into the crowd, literally tumbling both women into a group of fans sitting in the front row and toppling over their chairs, which just looked really awkward. Managed to get a couple other maneuvers. At one point, Shotzi went for, I think it was supposed to be like a swinging DDT on the apron, but she didn't quite hit it right at all. I think like Rousey's shoulder got clopped on the... it just was really awkward. It didn't land properly at all. She got clopped, like I said, Rousey's shoulder, I think, took a major blow. Shotzi got Rousey back in the ring. Tried to do like a superplex type maneuver, but Rousey countered that into a top rope judo throw. She then hit the Piper's Pit and then locked on the armbar, and that was it. This was a filler match. This was, all due respect to Shotzi, she's a good worker, but it's like this match added nothing. It did nothing. It was nothing. I kind of wish that maybe they'd filled the time up with, say, I know a lot of people don't like the classic Survivor Series matches anymore, but you could have just had one. You could have had, Rousey leading a team, as some people, and, Shotzi or Liv Morgan leading a team of others. Would have worked just as fine. just something like that, instead of, a one-on-one match that, everyone knew that Rousey was going to win, so there just wasn't much interest in it at all. Okay, that leads us into our next match, the triple threat match for the United States Championship. Seth Rollins against Austin Theory against Bobby Lashley. Couldn't help but notice early on that something went weird with Theory's entrance video. Like, I think they were supposed to play into an ad for Beyblade or something like that. And so it's like, you see this Beyblade stadium, the Beyblade's going around, and it's like, okay, I don't think that's supposed to be part of Theory's entrance video. Did that... Like, was that supposed to happen? Anyway, right off the bat, Lashley threw Theory out of the ring. However, immediately afterwards, Rollins dumped Lashley out of the ring. They brawled for a while on the outside. Lashley got thrown into the ring steps. Theory tripped Rollins on the apron, threw him into the barricade. At one point, Lashley hit a DDT flatline combo. He had Theory in the flatline, Rollins in the DDT. Rollins hit some multiple torpes throughout the match. Lashley broke up a stomp attempt and got Rollins in the heart lock and the hurt lock. Sorry, and Rollins Theory broke that up with a sleeper eventually. They again had some moments. Theory hit his Rolling Thunder blockbuster maneuver. He went for the 8-count down on Lashley. He got him up to the fireman's carry, but Rollins broke that up with a super kick. He then used Theory as a springboard to hit a kind of elevated stomp on Lashley, but Theory broke the pinfall after that. And brawled with Rollins in the corner. Rollins tried to do his superplex into the Falcon Arrow maneuver. However, just as he got Theory up for the Falcon Arrow portion, Lashley was revived enough to hit Rollins with a spear. However, in the process, Theory wound up in the pinning predicament and covered Rollins for the 3-count of the victory to regain his United States Championship. This match had a lot of hype coming into it, and I don't think it really fully lived up to it. That being said, it was still a very good match. Still a lot of stuff going on. Still pretty enjoyable. I like the idea of Theory winning the championship back. I think if you're going to push him, you need to push him. You need to make him look successful. And admittedly, this doesn't fully make him look successful, but maybe now if he can get a good long run with it, that maybe this will help elevate him in a lot of people's eyes. Like, if you're really that high on him, push him. That's the one problem I've been having. I always hear they're high on this guy, and then it's like, well, then this guy loses 3 straight matches. Well, they must not be that high on him, because if they did, they wouldn't lose. So, again, I think this actually has a recalibrated Theory and made him something more of a... he's definitely a better heel now than he was, when he's just taking selfies in the ring for, like, the umpteen other wannabe social media influence gimmicks out there. So, definitely, he's focused, now that he has it, what kind of chicanery is he going to pull to keep it? And that leads us into our main event, the men's War Game match, the Bloodline of Roman Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn, versus the Brawling Brutes of Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Pete Dunne, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. Yeah, I kind of like that they put people under one umbrella with these things, because we didn't always get that. Anyway. Yeah, so the storyline obviously going into this, especially the last week or so, with Kevin Owens being introduced as a partner, and now where are Sami Zayn's loyalties, and, that Jey Uso really doesn't trust Sami. He overhears Sami talking with Owens, and, Reigns has to take Sami aside and talk to him, and we're not entirely sure where Sami's standing in the Bloodline now is at all. But early on, opening things up, Jey Uso and Pete Dunne opened things. I'm not calling him Butch. They opened things off. Immediately, Dunne went after Jimmy's injured fingers. He tied them up in the cage to, manipulate them even further. Because the good guys actually had the advantage in this one, Ridge Holland was the next one out. He and Dunn splashed Jay in the corner several times. When it came time for the Bloodline to put their next person out, Jimmy wanted to be the next one, but Reigns called him off and made Sammy go out. So he basically made Sammy and Jay work together. The whole time Sammy said, I'm on your side. I'm on your side, but they would get into fights, and that would allow the baby faces to come back in and dominate a bit more. Jimmy eventually got in. He tried to throw some tables into the ring. Again, Sammy tried to help set up a table, got into a fight with everyone, and that allowed the babyface to make a comeback again. The next two babyfaces out were McIntyre and, let's see, it was Holland, yeah, it was McIntyre, then Kevin Owens, so yeah. Solo Sikoa was the next one out next. As that happened, Owens powerbombed Jimmy through a table. He hit a DDT on... He hit Jay with a DDT onto a chair. He had a stare down with Sami Zayn at that point, seeing as to where that was going to go. The last Brawl and Brute out was Sheamus, obviously, and that happened right as Owens threw Solo Sikoa into the cage to absolutely no effect. Zayn tried to keep Sheamus out by holding the door shut, got it slammed in his back in his face. Sheamus eventually hit Solo Sikoa with a white noise from the second rope. That happened just as Roman Reigns entered the match to make the match official and send things forward again. Reigns hit Sheamus with a Superman punch, but then he went for the spear, and I think it was Drew McIntyre interrupted it, and that allowed, we had a five-way belts in the Bowery, the clubbing blows to the chest. So that went on. Sikoa took a brogue kick, but that allowed Reigns to spear Sheamus. Dunn broke up the pin after that. Dunn got super kicked, or dodged a super kick from Jay, which hit Sami Zayn. You think, oh, okay, so is this where Sami turns his back and he leaves the group, or what else was going to happen here? That Reigns speared Ridge Holland through a table. Owens then got in there and attacked Reigns long enough to hit the stunner on him, and just as the ref was about to count three, Sami Zayn reached out and grabbed the ref's arm. That stopped it, and it's like, okay, is this where Reigns and Zayn argue for a bit? Jay went for a super kick, but instead Sami low-blowed Reigns. Basically, I keep saying Reigns. Owens blocked the super kick, and that enabled Sami to low-blow Owens. He then hit the haluva kick and allowed Jay to hit the Uso splash to cover for the 3 count and the victory. Afterwards, all the Bloodline embraced Sami. He is now a full member of the Uso family, or he's now a full Uso. So this was a really good match. This did everything right. This told the story. Sami is now fully solidified as a heel. Until they eventually kick him out of the group again. But whenever that happens, you never know. We can now have another full-on Sami-Kevin feud, which can hopefully really reach its true potential, because I don't think they ever really have in their entire run, at least on the main roster, right? Like, when they started in NXT, it was good. Unfortunately, it got delayed because of Sami's injury, but that was all right. But then, when they had their main roster thing, like, that never really lived up to the hype. And then, the Logan Paul thing never really lived up to the hype. And, that WrestleMania match, that just, it never really quite panned out. Maybe now if they can have a good, proper feud. And it looks like Owens is still going to be going after Reigns for the time being, at least. I don't know what McIntyre or Sheamus are going to do, since they're also looking like they could be going after Reigns. Don't know what the plans are for right now, and still, though, this match told the story perfectly. It did everything it was meant to do. I like the fact that weapons were really kind of downplayed in this, because I thought, like I said, the weapons were overplayed in the women's match. I think they were played perfectly here, where it wasn't, we constantly have to throw everything in the ring and have stuff all over the dang place to tell a good story and have a good match. So, that worked fine. Everything, it was really good. This was the match of the night, in my opinion. Everything, like I said, everything fired on all cylinders. Okay, so yeah, my thoughts on the show overall. Like I said, this, there were some really high points. None of them, only one of the matches that would quite really categorize as bad. That was that SmackDown Women's Championship match. That just, like I said, that there was no feeling going into it, and there was no feeling coming out of it. So, yeah, just it was there. Like, not necessarily bad, just meh. And at least if it had been bad, it would have been memorable. But this was, like I said, just, no one will remember this. I'll remember that. But again, all the other matches had their high points. For the most part, told good stories. Seemed to take things in decent directions. Am interested in seeing what happens with Bianca Belair at this point. Is Becky Lynch going to challenge her again? Are we going to get... is Bayley going to get another challenge again, or will Rhea Ripley finally get her shot? All of those could be interesting. I guess because they're building towards the proper Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey singles match at Mania, or at least that's what they were at one point. I don't know if they still are. I don't know entirely what direction that's going to go in, but still, that could mean something. Are we eventually going to get a Ronda Rousey Shayna Baszler match? Again, that could be interesting if need be. But, not entirely sure how that's going to work out. And, again, all of this is rather confusing anyway. I'll get to that after the grade, okay? I'm going to give Survivor Series 2022 a B. Like I said, only that SmackDown Women's Championship match was just kind of meh. Everything else was fine. The first War Games match was a little long-winded, and I think that's the only problem with these premium live events. You can't call them pay-per-views anymore, but I know they have to compensate for the people who have the ad-supported tier of Peacock, and so that's why we're getting these just long, recycled vignettes over and over and over again. But it's one of those, show a different ad, or show like a little backstage segment or something that's not long, or just a Raw recap or something that would be a little bit more lively in those things, and shorten them down. Like, we don't need these things to go on for minutes and minutes and minutes on end. That's where it's just that's where everything just falls apart. That's why these things are way too long-winded. Or, you know what, again, because it was a holiday weekend and you're on a Saturday and you don't have to worry about kids going to school the next day, start this thing at 7 on the East Coast. Don't start at 8. And, again, put matches on the kickoff show. I don't need to hear all of the analysis of the people talking about stuff. Every other wrestling company knows you put matches on the kickoff show. Anyway, like I said, it gets a B. This was still overall pretty enjoyable. And that does lead into the weirdness. I do know that in a couple weeks there is a NXT I guess they're not takeovers anymore, but there's an NXT show. I don't know if I'm going to cover that. It's the holidays. I need time to get stuff done. And after that, the next one listed is the Royal Rumble, which is at the end of January. So yeah, there's no main roster premium live event for, December. Obviously, they were going to do day one at one point, but that got scuttled because they just couldn't sell tickets to it at all. And, no one cared about that show, especially since you're airing that. It would have been a Sunday, during critical times in the football seasons. You would have been up against a really big football game that week. So, again, it just didn't quite work. So, yeah, obviously, they pushing the Royal Rumble back, or ditching day one is all right, but, I keep hearing they're going to try to do something else before that, but I don't know what, and they haven't announced it yet. So, I mean, and literally on the show, they said the next premium live event was the Royal Rumble, so, yeah, might not be any WWE shows for a while. AEW doesn't have one until March, so, yeah, I guess I'm doing Impact. Impact Hard to Kill is in January and all that. Impact's got another show next week. I can't remember what it's called. It's the one where they're throwing back and pretending they're an old territory television show, so that'll be kind of interesting. And Anyway, the next video, well, it's going to be like, another, it'll be the week 13 Madden preview. Then it will be, the next 2 episodes of the Santa Clauses. And then the random trade review on Ambush Buggy or None. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling covers by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.